Hey there YouTube, this is Amy at Hoppa Chick Creative, and I wanted to share a jewelry making project with you today. These are a couple of homemade stencils I had made from acetate a few months back, and quick tip on these, I just went through a couple of magazines, I believe these were from Yoga Journal, and traced the outline of two women's figures. I love this one. I think I'm going to save it for another day. I just wanted to give you a sense of some of the different ideas that you could do, and I think this would be a great big dangly earring project. These are also going to be humongous earrings, but I really like this image. I just think of it as like, you know, a woman at rest, and in the original image was her just sort of gazing up towards the sky, and she's sitting very peacefully. And so I'm going to use this stencil today, and so I guess technically this would be a mask actually, but I'm going to use it as a stencil. So I was trying to figure out what kind of paper I wanted to use. Of course you could use scrapbook paper that's already patterned, and that would already give you a design. I had picked up this artist pad though by Royal and Langnickel from Joann's. It was in their dollar bin. What a bargain. It was, let's see, there's 15 pages, 5 by 7. I've already used several of the pages, and it's a great watercolor paper. I'm not big into watercolors, so I'm sure it's not the top grade paper, but it's worked really well for some of my mixed media and spray mists and things like that. So I definitely recommend this if you see this at your local Michael's or Joann's, especially if it's $1. I mean, you get 15 sheets and you can get a lot of use out of it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to trace around this mask, and please excuse my dog. My roommate's just coming home and the dogs get really excited. So anyway, I'm just going to use a fine tipped pen. This is one of Sakura's micron pens, and it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you can go around the edges fairly well. And I'm just going to come around over here, do the same thing on the other side. And like a lot of my projects, I haven't really decided exactly what the end result is going to look like. So I'll probably be using some of my homemade glimmer mists, because I love using those whenever I can. I also have the Derwent Inktense blocks, which are great for watercoloring. I just moved though, and I don't know where those are right now, so I'm not going to be using those for the project today, but those would be another fun medium to use. Okay, so now that I have my girl traced out, I'm going to rip out 2 sheets so that I can cut 2 sheets at the same time. I'm just going to line them up as well as I can, do a little fussy cutting. And remember, since they're earrings, it's good if they don't face the same direction. So what I'm going to do when I'm finished with the cutting is just flip over one of the images, and that way I'll get earrings facing 2 different ways. And I also just realized that I don't know where my X-Acto knife is right now either. It is still packed away somewhere, and I'm not sure yet how I'm going to cut out this little space here. I'm trying to remember what I did before I had an X-Acto knife, and it's not really coming to me right now. Oh, hole punch. I can get a hole punch in there and then just cut around it. So there's another quick tip. If you don't have an X-Acto knife handy, you can cut out an area using a hole punch first and then going in with your scissors. Let's see. Okay, this should be, that's a little bit bigger actually than I'm looking for. Just going to use a smaller, this is a rectangular shaped hole punch, and try and punch it a couple of times so that I can get my scissors in there. Just being careful to stay within those lines. Okay. So, just going to cut out that teeny tiny little spot. I wish it was a little bit bigger. It'd be easier to maneuver around in it. Okay. This is why I shoot my videos in real time. Besides I don't know all about editing yet, I also want to give viewers a sense of how long it actually will take with the project. So they tend to be longer videos, but you're getting a sense of what it really takes. Okay, so I'm just going to separate these two, and then of course one will be going one direction and one the other. And these are going to be big honkin' earrings, that's for sure. So I'm going to just lay those materials off to the side. And what I normally try to do with spray mist is have something behind the spray mist. I heard a great idea about just setting up a shoebox and then putting whatever you're spraying inside the shoebox so that you're not spraying everywhere, so it doesn't get on your computer or your other stuff on your desk. I don't have a shoebox handy, so I'm just using that Graphic 45 pad because the back of it is vintage anyway, and so a little extra paint isn't going to hurt it. Okay, so just going to use some homemade spray mist and some of my favorite colors right now. I made up a coppery brown color a couple of days ago, and it looks like cafe au lait in the bottle, but on the paper it's shimmery and pretty. So I'm trying to figure what's going to look good together. This one's tricky. Brown is tricky for me because once I start introducing other colors, if there's brown, it can sometimes just turn into a big old mess. So I'm sure you've experienced that. People call it making mud, and I've definitely done that. And I'm actually going to set my watercolor paper a little bit further off to the side so the paint doesn't get on it. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly mist these. So obviously that's a blue color, and then I'm going to come in with this darker purple. And depending on how well your spray bottle is spraying, you might get more of a mottled effect or you might get a steadier stream, but this one is definitely getting a little bit clogged, so it's kind of just doing like a polka dot splatter effect, which is okay too. Gives a little bit a different feel to the paper. Okay, so far what you can see here is It looks sort of cosmic, sort of a starburst look, and I had mixed up a batch of red spray mist as well. This doesn't have any shimmer in it. I'm going to go up high to spray that because I'm not sure exactly how much I want of that red. Okay. And I'm just going to look for a second and just kind of see if I want to add anything. Okay, one trick, and this is the great thing about the Ranger craft sheet, is that there's a lot of color left over, which will be easily soaked up by the material on top of it. So to get the back of the earrings, because your earrings are going to tend to flip around and things like that, so you don't want it to just be like a plain white background. I'm just going to kind of swirl the paper around in the ink so that the back gets some color too. You can see my fingers are getting nice and inked up too. I don't even try to have a manicure anymore. Between my job and crafting, I just pretty much cut and file my nails now. I'm a massage therapist, so we have to keep our nails short anyway, but I'm always getting ink and paint on them, so between the two things, it's like, yeah, I don't get manicures anymore. Pedicures are nice though, but okay, so now I just want to kind of lift and take a look. So the remainder of the ink did get onto the back, not all the way. So I'm just going to kind of run that around in there and just sort of swirl it around, get some more color on the back. So the remaining color on the sheet is sort of a fuchsia, somewhere between fuchsia and red. But I like that color. I like how that's turning out. So if the earring does flip over while it's being worn, it'll look pretty. And I'm going over the front now to give it a little more patterning there. And it's nice if they don't look identical. So they look a little more handmade and different. So now I'm going to flip it over to the front side. Okay, so now we have our two sitting women here. I'm going to put these off to the side so I can clean up the space. So I'm going to pop out my heat gun in a second, and I don't want to seal this onto the color onto the craft sheet. I've been collecting these baby wipes that get all the color because they usually get this tie-dye effect, so I've been saving them and just putting them in a drawer because I hope to use them in some kind of project. If you guys have any ideas for baby wipe projects, that'd be awesome. I thought about making some paper flowers out of them just because they have some really cool colors on them. I want to use them for something. Okay, just wiping up the remainder of that, and then just so that I can get these dry quickly, I'm just going to go over it with my heat gun. And the spray mist dry pretty darn fast with a heat gun. And I've noticed too, if any of the moisture has started to buckle the paper, that the drying will usually tend to smooth out the paper. In this case, it's curling it up, so I'll flip it over, get that side too, and try and flatten that out. And you can always stick these in a big heavy book or, you know, something straight that you can pile some weight on top of so that you can get them nice and flat again. Okay, so those are fairly flat. What I'm going to do next is stick these in a book so I can get them nice and flat, and then I will come back to them either in a few hours or tomorrow.